Hi Vloggy Vlog. Okay, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing Forbes 30 Under 30. A lot of takes that I have that are surprising to people about Forbes, so I wanted to reveal some truths. A really fast disclaimer that I know that it's kind of a meme in tech to get Forbes 30 Under 30 and even for startup founders to discuss it, but there's no denying that having that title when you're reaching out to people for hiring purposes or just any networking purposes, it helps. And also the network is something that's really special. I feel like especially as a solo founder, I really cherish any founder communities that I get access to. So it's great to have that as well. To all the memes about me going to jail, this one's for you. In case you don't already know me, my name is Catherine and I am the founder of Anja Health. We help pregnant parents free stem cells from their umbilical cords and placenta to use for potential future disease treatment in the family. I founded it in memory of my younger brother. It's his namesake. His name was Andrew, hence the name Anja Health. And I got Forbes 30 Under 30 in the 2024 consumer tech category, which is no longer a category. They swapped us out for things like AI in 2025. I basically asked ChatGPT to ask me questions. So that's why I'm looking over here. Number one, what is Forbes 30 Under 30 and how does the selection process work? So we have a panel of judges and the judges pick. I think the judges are comprised of people in the industry plus previous listers, and they choose. I filled out a type form to nominate myself, and then I asked some other previous listers to also nominate me, and I sent them what they should say. And I had people do that 2 years in a row. I got like way more references the first year, but I didn't get it. And then the second year, I think like 1 or 2 people. The previous year I did like 5 or 6. And then I got it the second year. So I don't really know how much these references even mean anything. And actually the same thing happened with YC. They reached out to me once after I was nominated, and then they just had me answer a few questions about like any updated metrics for my company and things like that. And then I didn't even find out that I was getting it until it was published. And they just send you an email that says you got it, and then you get invited to a Slack. And then they recently moved that to another like personal platform that they built. You don't pay anything. What they look for, my assumption, is just people that will market Forbes, because at the end of the day, Forbes is a business too. So they want people that have an online presence and people that would help their brand, but also be the type to amplify it and make videos like this one. So they picked right. I think revenue matters somewhat, but also like social media presence. I would guess like if I was Forbes, I would choose people with a big social media presence and people that would just make us look good. So do you receive a formal onboarding or welcome package? No. They give you a link to buy merch, and I've spent $100 buying the sweatshirt. My bestie Raja was like, oh, that'll be something that will be good for your kids to have. Like that'll be kind of fun, so you should just buy it. So I was like, okay, so I bought it. Same thing with the conference. They ask you to pay for it to attend. We get a discount though if you're a listee, and we have to pay for our hotel. We pay for everything. So in fact, I have only lost money after getting this nomination, but that's okay. I think it's worth it. And the big plus of being on the Forbes list is you can go to the summit and go to the lister events and meet other listers. And it's kind of unlike any other community I've been a part of, because usually like I've been in YC and a couple of other founder communities that have different vibes. And I think the vibe of Forbes is just people are doing really, really different things. Like my closer Forbes friends are like in fashion or like doing D2C like e-com brands that are viral, and just things that I would not ever know about, because like all of my friends are startup founders in entrepreneurship communities or like creators, and that's just very different from the things that people do in the Forbes community. So I love being a part of it. Okay, so now for the summit. Basically, it's about 3-ish days. I think 2 full days and traveling days on both ends. So I basically got to Cincinnati. My first take is that Cincinnati is so crazy because, I mean, I've barely spent time in the Midwest, but the real estate is crazy. Like our apartment was really like inexpensive for how big it was. And also I tried to find an Equinox and I couldn't find one. So then I went to a YMCA, and at the YMCA, I remember this lady came up to me and she was like, oh, where did you get your headphones from? And I was like, Apple? Then throughout each of the conference days, there's basically a series of talks. So for instance, I went to a talk with the founder of Built, the CMO of Rare Beauty. Yeah, basically I would attend the talks and go between there and the sort of like lister lounge where I could meet other listers. And some of the talks were interesting, but I would kind of work during them. It was kind of like college vibes when you kind of like do some work during the lecture. And so I liked that because I felt really productive in those kind of environments. And then I would go and network with the listers and then come back and sometimes take a break. But honestly, like that was a really good weekend because sometimes I get a little socially overwhelmed if I'm going to do too many networking things, but I feel like the vibes were good. So I actually never felt overwhelmed. Then another big part of the summit is they always have food trucks. I think they're mostly local businesses and things like that. A lot of the conference is geared towards supporting the state of Ohio. Like they have a contract with the state of Ohio to host the Forbes Summit there for 3 years. And so I think this 2025 one is the 3rd year, but they do like Cincinnati and Columbus and then the other big cities in Ohio. Kind of like after party or like drinks type of things for the listees. So that was cool as well because then I could continue to meet other listees, which I think is like really the best part about the summit. I had never been as a college student, but I remember some other undergrad people going in the hopes of meeting listees and such, which I think
all those things in sports when you do the
really
right
worth
thing.
it if you're in undergrad, unless you're like having a specific mission. Like if you want to get an internship at a startup or something, maybe you could meet someone while you're there. There are some people that like go every year and try to always meet listees and get in listee group chats and stuff like that. So could be you. The morning of the second full day, I went to the run club. I think it was like a listee run club thing. And that was really interesting because my average mile time is 12 minutes. And they were going way faster than 12 minutes, even though they said it would be an easy pace. So I was really struggling. Then I tried to find a green juice because I wanted one, but I'm in Ohio. So I did not find a green juice, unfortunately. I found like, I guess it was a green juice. Then after that, I went to a lunch roundtable event. Each table of this roundtable event was hosted by a former lister that had done amazing things, and other people were there that were also listers. And so we got to listen to kind of their advice. There was generally a theme, and yeah, we could ask them questions and then get to know other listers. I was at the end of this really long table, so I mostly just used the time to get to know other listers. It was kind of hard for me to hear the main speaker. Then there was another after party type situation with the listers, so that was fun too. And honestly, that's where I met a lot of my friends that I continued to have like long-standing relationships with. So like for instance, I recently went to London and hung out with a group of listers, so that was really fun. And yeah, that's kind of like the summation of what it's like to be in Forbes and how I got it and what it involves. And biggest perk is the network, and you can get it just by nominating. And I guess if you really wanted to, you could try to network potentially with the people that like either the judges or the journalists in charge, but I don't even know honestly who says what. So yeah, if you're looking to get Forbes, you should just hustle, focus on yourself, queen. Lastly, would you believe me if I told you that for my birthday, my mom's gift to me was a big print of my Forbes 30 list, and she hung it up in our bathroom, in our guest bathroom. Thanks for listening.